here in Joshua Tree National Park at the Pine City Backcountry Board. We're not going to go that way today, but we are going to go over to the Eagle Cliff Mine. It's Saturday, January 13th, 2018. We're going to see the Desert Queen Mine also on the way over to the Eagle Cliff Mine. So that should be interesting. Only a couple cars in the parking lot this morning. Nice day, so let's go see what we find. So we're just a few minutes out of the parking lot, and we're going to veer to the right here. There's a little structure down here, stone remnants of a building. Go take a look at that. Well, here's what's left of this building here, the stone foundation. I would imagine some miners lived here. Here's the other side of it. Pretty healthy header in there. Low doorway. A little bed frame. Not much else left. So if you just continue on down past that stone building, we can get down and cross the Desert Queen Wash and go over to the Desert Queen Mine. Well, that's looking across at the Desert Queen Mine, the main pile that came out of the main tunnel. The mine was in operation from the late 1800s to 1961. Yielded, I think, 3,845 ounces of gold, worth several $1 million. And the ore was hauled over to the Wall Street Mill via the historic Queen Valley Road. So you come down to the wash, cross the wash, which is also a fun hike. You can do the entire Desert Queen Wash. But today we're going to cross the wash and go up to the mine shafts and tunnels. So here's the first tunnel slash shaft that you come to. They've got these graded over pretty well so you can't climb around in them. Well, you can see what a pile of excavation they've taken out of that main shaft up there. Here's an old water pump or a steam engine, one or the other. I don't know which this is. One of you guys can tell me. It's a Chicago pneumatic, one cylinder, crankshaft, flywheels, connected to this apparatus over here. Well, that's looking across to where we came from. This is looking down into the wash. There's quite a bit of equipment debris down there still. We're standing on top of the pile of tailings or diggings that they brought out of here. There was a railroad track that they hauled the ore out of in carts. I don't know how deep this is or how long this is. It's graded over shortly after you go into the entrance. You can see the railroad tracks coming out of here. Okay, if you continue uphill from the main shaft or the main tunnel, you can come up to some other shafts on top of the hill here, and that's also the way we're going to get over to the Eagle Cliff Mine. Well, this top of this little piece of mountain has been significantly altered by all this mining. There are shafts and tunneling, and I think some of these intersected with that main tunnel that we were just looking at. They must have hit quite a vein of stuff up in here. This is overlooking the Desert Queen Wash, which, like I said before, is a fun hike. You can hike all the way down to the main road coming into the park. Well, after you get done exploring up here on the top of this hill, here's the final shaft. There's a trail that leaves, I think it's going easterly, since it's morning and we're going towards the sun. This will wind around and get you over towards the Eagle Cliff Mine. Here's a nice view of the trail. You wind around a little bit. It's not an officially maintained trail, I don't believe, but it's plenty easy to follow. You can see it on the other side of this little valley here. So that's looking back the way we came. Desert Queen Mine is on the next little hill. It's kind of camouflaged because of the terrain. I believe that's Mount San Gorgonio in the background with a little snow on it. But we're going this way. Pretty scenic going this way too, all the way over to the Coxcomb Mountains in the background in the far distance. Well, you come over that little crest and now we're going to go down the hill and up this next wash. And the Eagle Cliff Mine is up across this wash on the other side of that ridge that you see on the horizon there. We are down in the bottom of this valley now that we're going to be going up. And if you look up on the horizon, you'll see a spire-shaped rock. That's a good landmark. You know you're in the right spot. We're just going to work our way up this wash slash canyon, and at the top we're going to take a left. Well, we're about halfway up this valley slash wash, and there's the spire up there again, so we're in the right place. We're going to just be left of that spire a couple hundred yards when we get up to the top of this. That's looking behind us up the valley we just came. So there's the spire, the top of it anyway. We're a couple hundred yards pretty much straight east of it. There's a short shaft here about 10 or 15 feet deep and a pile of tailings. So when you get to here, you're going to go right to the right of this big boulder, pretty much straight east again. You'll see 3 large slabs kind of laying on their ends, kind of tilted. We're going to go towards them and to the left of them, and we'll find the trail to the mine. So that's looking behind us. There's the spire. We just crossed over a little ridge shortly after we left that little mine shaft. And you come up here. And I believe you can camp in this area. There's a nice plateau down where we're going. There's also a nice plateau if you go to the right here and to the left. Would make a nice camping area. I'm pretty sure that if you leave from the Pine City Backcountry Board, that you can camp up there. So we're taking a left down this next little valley, and the mine and the miner's cabin is just down here a little ways. After you descend a little bit from that ridge where you can see the spire last, you come to this plateau which contains this mine tunnel, which is gated over, and here's the pile of tailings or ore that came out of it. So anyway, from the mine, the cabin is just right over here to the right. So here's the doorway to the cabin. This part inside the entrance was covered over with some of these pine logs that were down here, and I'm sure they had some kind of steel roofing. The main part of the opening is a natural boulder occurrence where it's the way they've fallen has created an opening underneath them. So here's the fireplace. Over here is the pantry. Some old barrel parts. So here's the window. And some bottles that are sitting around. There's a nice old mason jar. Oh, here's a logbook. Little box with a bunch of old cans. There's a little something we probably put over a regular fire. There's an old carnation milk can. Here is a cook stove. Looks like a wood cook stove with a chimney made out of rock. Please don't take anything except photographs. This is very well preserved, probably the best preserved cabin in the park. So let's keep it that way and not take anything out of here. There's another old box. Here is their wall that they've made out of rocks. The rest of it is all a natural opening, like I said before. Here's the sleeping area. It's pretty spacious, actually. There's room for, oh geez, depending on how well you know each other, at least 3 or 4 guys in here could fit in here. Very cozy. Very nice. Here's the back of the cabin where the window is. And the roofing, I believe they've redone some of the roofing to restore this a little bit. You can see how old the glass is. It's sagging and it's distorted. So we've gone past the window of the cabin. There's a little slot you can get through, and then you go this way a little more. There are the remains of another cabin. Although I don't believe it's very well preserved. It's right here. So this is pretty cool. I don't think a lot of people know about this or have been here. There's not much sign of it. Here's an old old fireplace, probably for heat and cooking, and a little, just an opening for a chimney. It's a natural, hollowed out boulder, and fairly spacious. I suppose it's about, oh, I don't know, it's not square, but I would guess it's 10-12 feet one way and maybe about the same the other, 8 or 10. It's definitely cool. It's a hollowed out erosion type thing, and they've just built some small walls. I imagine there may have been more to it, and I'm assuming there was more equipment in here. They probably cleared it out to use somewhere else. But yeah, this is only 100 feet or so from the other cabin. You just gotta find your way back here to it. Pretty cool though. Boy, this is one massive boulder here. This thing's got to be 100 feet tall over here. All the same rock. Well, that's it for the tour of this upper cabin. What's left of it. Pretty neat. Definitely a sturdy thing. It's built into a huge boulder. Here's the outside of this thing. I shouldn't say built into it. It's eroded into it. So now we're going to see if we can scramble down to the Desert Queen Wash and take the wash back instead of the trail back. So here's the window of the back of the cabin, the main cabin. And here's the passageway up to the other cabin. You go by this Joshua tree here. So that's looking back at that huge boulder we were just up. The second cabin is just below that boulder by that tree. So we're looking at scrambling back down to the Desert Queen Wash, which is down at the bottom of this valley. It's a little rubbly, but I think we can make it. We just don't want to come to a cliff is all. We tried to scramble down to the Desert Queen Wash on the left side of this valley. We got down into those boulders and we couldn't get any further, so we had to come back up. And now we're at some other places where they've tried to do some mining. The main cabin is still up beneath that big rock up there. So here's another shaft or a tunnel, I can't even see which, that we've come across below the main, the miner's cabin up here at Eagle Cliff. So just past that last shaft or tunnel, whichever they are, here's another one. This looks like it had some head frame or some sort of works around it, because there's a footing over here with some metal sticking out of it. I'm not sure if they had a hoist of some sort, but so this once again is right below the Eagle Cliff Mine, which is over there. This may be still part of, considered the Eagle Cliff Mine complex, I don't know. But it looks like there was a fair amount of material taken out of here. All this right here. There's also an anchor down in the big rock down there for something. So this is another little remnants of a little structure here. It looks like they had chiseled a hole through the rock there, probably to put a beam across here over towards where I'm standing. In fact, there's remnants of something right here. But they probably had a beam coming this way to support a roof, and it's rocks to this side, and this wall, and a fireplace, and a nice flat sleeping area here where I'm standing. This is the view from this side. So another little miner's cabin. Well, this has turned into quite a scramble. Looks like I went that way. Julie the Scrambler. A lot of chunks of quartz coming out of this little wash that we're coming down. I bet there's gold up in there somewhere, because that seems to run together with the gold. It's all over the place here. This is actually a little pink quartz. So we finally successfully scrambled down that little canyon. That was kind of a bear. There's a skull of something. So that's the canyon we've just come down. We scrambled all the way down that bouldery wash. Here's the Desert Queen Mine. There's a big cairn here. I'm not sure if it's to mark this. We weren't on a trail. There might be another trail that goes up in there somewhere. But this way back to the Desert Queen Mine. And it shouldn't be too far up here. Actually, I can see some debris from it already, it looks like. There's a piece of corrugated steel that Probably was a roof off of one of these mining structures around here. Some twisted up angle iron with it. Working our way down the DQ wash. I believe the mine is up on top of that hill in front of us. The Desert Queen mine, that is. Well, we're getting a little closer to the mine. You start seeing a lot of debris, like that piece of pipe. That's a thick-walled pipe. Well, we're really seeing some large pieces of debris now. It looks like part of a tank. Up on this side of the hill here is another tank. Here's looks like a piece of a hoist or something. There's some more sheet metal. There's a grate. Up here on the hill is a concrete footing for something. And a couple of flywheels off of something. And a lot of rubble coming from the top. All those shafts and tunnels are right up on top of this hill. There's a lot more debris, some smaller water pipes. Here's the main tailings pile coming out of the main tunnel up there. Well, we are back to where we started this whole trip. That's the way up to the Desert Queen mine. Hold on, dude. This is the way up to back to the parking lot. One last look at the Desert Queen mine. We're headed back to the trailhead. So we're back to the trailhead here at the Pine City Backcountry Board. We went and visited the Desert Queen mine. We went over to the Eagle Cliff mine. We saw 2 other miners' cabins that are probably mostly unknown by a lot of people. We went a total of about 4.5 miles. Our elevation gain was about 950. We took about 3.5 hours to complete this trip. If you wanted to go just from the Pine City Backboard to the Eagle Cliff mine and back, it's probably about 3 miles round trip, and that would probably only take you a couple hours. So that's the roundup. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate it, and as always, from Julie and myself, happy hiking.